County, Arizona, to announce another sizable vote dump in the next hour. According to local reports, election officials have finished counting the majority of its 87,000 outstanding ballots. And the fate of the governor's race may well hang in the balance. As it stands now, about 100,000 votes across the state are still out there uncounted. And Democrat Katie Hobbs has a 25,000 vote lead over Republican Kari Lake. So once again, the nation's eyes turn to the good people of Maricopa County, who want you to know they're going as fast as they can.
This is fast for Maricopa County. It usually takes us anywhere between 10 and 12 days to complete the count, and we think we're going to be done by the end of this week.
This is fast? Did they hear what happened in Florida? But what were we expecting? Election day was a disaster in Maricopa County. 20% of voting machines ran out of ink. They had problems with ballpoint pens, and people lined up, some for as long as 7 hours, to cast their vote.
What happens is we have two tabulators. One of the tabulators is not working, okay? The other tabulator is taking about 75% successful. So 25% of them are being misread, and it could be a printer issue, or it could be the tabulator itself. So when it's misread, you have an option to put it into what's called box 3, and it gets read, whether it goes downtown and gets read manually, or whether it gets refed into our tabulator.
You don't want to adjudicate.
They get read.
Was this the voter suppression the Democrats kept talking about? Oh, and the Secretary of State wouldn't recuse herself from overseeing the election, even though she was running for governor. I mean, anybody can see this is not how you run an election. Well, almost anyone.
Maricopa County has some of the best vote counting processes because of past problems.
Yeah, Andrea, they have a whole lot of practice.
I guess sometimes practice doesn't make perfect. Let's turn to Kari Lake running for governor in Arizona. What's going to happen when we hear about this vote dump in about, I don't know, minutes? It could be. Kari.
I don't know. We think we should be in good shape. There's look at my notes, 158,000 ballots that have not been counted yet. And 94,000 of those are in Maricopa County, where they took our sacred vote and they just made a mockery of it. It's outrageous, Jesse, what happened. I had a man come up to me at breakfast yesterday and said, I showed up to vote. There was a 3-hour line. They said the tabulator machines were not working. I drove across the way and went to another 15-minute drive to another center, and the printers weren't working. They had no toner in them. I drove another 20 minutes and finally voted. It was a half-a-day odyssey to cast my vote, and we're getting thousands of people reaching out saying the exact same thing. We don't know how many people just finally gave up because it was so hard to vote. And when they did get to the front of the line, only to find out the tabulator wasn't going to count their vote, it was going to be brought downtown, put it in a bin, and we'll bring it downtown and we'll count it later. It's an embarrassment, and I'm going to fight for the people of Arizona that everybody's vote is counted. This is sacred. This is outrageous what they did here in Maricopa County. And the people that were supporting me, they knew were showing up on Election Day. And I don't know if there's any malicious intent to the mockery they made of the people who showed up to cast their vote, or if this is just complete ineptitude. But either way, it's got to stop. Arizona will no longer be the laughing stock of elections around the world. Third world countries run elections better.
If she comes out ahead at the end of this thing, how would you legally go about challenging this?
Well, I can't imagine our version of Joe Biden, Katie Hobbs, would win because she didn't even campaign. She hid in her basement. She's a twice convicted racist. I don't believe that people of Arizona would vote for her and that she would win. But if that's what happens at the end of the day, how do you certify an election that is this botched? And she's the one that would certify her own election where it was botched, where the machines didn't work in more than a third of the polling centers. I don't know how we remedy this. But the people of Arizona are furious. They're reaching out to us by the thousands saying, I don't think my vote even was counted. I didn't even get a chance to vote. There were so many hoops to jump through. I had to go because my daughter had a track meet, or my work wasn't going to give me 4 hours off, 6 hours off to vote. It's outrageous what happened. We had lines that were 3 and 4 hours long in retirement areas where people were old. And all of this happened in Republican areas. My area where I was going to vote, the printer didn't work. There wasn't enough toner in the printer. So I went to a liberal part of town and got right in and out in about 15 minutes. It's funny how that works in Arizona.
Yeah, I mean, if Katie's in charge of the ink and toner for the election as Secretary of State and there's no ink and toner and it's causing these
And
types of
she's in
problems, this can't stand. You can't have someone in charge of that kind of incompetence. All right.
And she's in charge of certifying the machines, and the two guys who are counting the ballots in Arizona or in Maricopa County formed a pack to try to bring down MAGA candidates such as myself. So there's all kinds of unethical behavior going on in Arizona, and the people are taking notice, and they are not happy right now.
All right. Kari Lake, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll keep everybody updated on those counts as they come in.
Thank you, Jesse.